What's up, everybody? Jerrett here with the winner of the song contest from last week. The hint was given to us by Dylan Biles, which was Atlas Shrugged and then tried to kick my ass. The winner of the contest was Rachel Mogan, our wonderful co-host, who correctly guessed the game as BioShock. So, Mogan will pick the song and hint for a future episode. So stick around to the end of this episode for the hint for this week's contest. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Buongiorno.
And to my left, Zachary Parks.
Hola.
In case you did not know, Team Chat Podcast is a video game podcast where we talk about games, the ones we love, the ones we hate, and everything in between. You want to get in contact with us, you can do that by sending us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com, following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, and subscribing to our iTunes and YouTube channels. If you want to support the show, you can do that too by going to patreon.com/teamchatpodcast, where it's for as little as $1 a month. You can support the show, and in return, we'll give you a cool perk like getting the episode early before its general Tuesday release. Now, we're having to pre-record this episode a little bit to account for some travel and stuff like that. So I don't know the song contest yet. I don't know who won. It's
not a wizard.
It's in the past. I cannot foresee that far.
Future Jerrett will let us know.
There should be a wizard Jerrett. Me Lord Jerrett, Wizard Jerrett.
So many different characters. Why?
Like lightning
Jerrett, oh
out of your fingertips.
Why so many characters for me? Why can't it just be me?
No.
We like all the other Jerretts better.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Get out.
No, we love President Jerrett.
So
He's
sad.
so great.
Wizard Jerrett.
Wizard Jerrett.
I love Wizard Jerrett.
So anyway, I will fit that in somewhere in this episode of the song contest for now, for who won last week and who the hint and stuff for the next week, for the current week. So you'll probably have already seen that by this point, let's be honest. But today is a wonderful, joyous day because we are doing another installment of our favorite soundtracks.
Oh, I love these episodes.
The only good episodes we do.
The best ones by far, because we can just ride on the achievements of others
Yeah,
to
it's great.
float these episodes.
Who doesn't want to hear it? It's like we're radio talk
We'll
show
let the work
people
speak
now.
for itself.
Yeah.
It's so good. So for the next hour, please just enjoy this medley of soundtracks.
Don't sue us.
Just kidding. We're going to go with actual real ones. So we have a good list. We've each picked two games to spotlight some of their music from, and a lot of good ones from this list from what I'm seeing. So who wants to jump in first? Who wants to take
Mogan.
the lead?
Me?
Yeah.
All right,
All
let's
right.
start with one of mine. Okay, so I want to start by saying I have never actually played a full game from this series.
Okay.
But I recognize its importance in gaming overall, and consistently, the soundtracks and art style are amazing. I was also kind of prompted to revisit this series because of the recent Netflix adaptation of Castlevania. Oh, right.
I played like the first level.
So
I've
I
never
remember
played.
Of the-
getting my
of the
very
older-
first Castlevania game, which was one for PS2. It was, what was it? I forget. There was a guy on the front. He had a whip. It was silly. I don't know.
It's odd.
Anyway, Lament of something. Ooh, Lament of Innocence.
There you go.
I think I'm right about that. I think I'm right. But anyways, I remember getting the game and I was like, I didn't ask for this. Because I was an ungrateful little
Family.
bitch. But no, I think I tried to play it and I was like, I don't think this is like for children.
This says rated M.
Castlevania is a pretty intense series, but this particular track that I have picked is from one of the older games. So I think this would have been Symphony of Night, which came out for PlayStation 1 back in the late 90s. I think it was 97 specifically. But this was back when Castlevania was still the 2D side-scroller style. And Castlevania and the Metroid games have really spawned the entire Metroidvania genre of games, like Ori and the Blind Forest, or even to a certain extent games like Child of Light. That particular style has been extremely influential in modern gaming as we know it. So this particular track I love because the graphic capabilities they had at that time were almost none. I mean, it was the late 90s.
Right.
And it was a 2D
It's where they like were
side-scroller.
trying to make everything look really good, but it's just not
I mean,
able
they
to do it
tried,
yet.
but they weren't able to reach that point. But with music has pretty much been as accessible as it gets even now.
Right.
And the musical score to Symphony of Night from, Yasamune? What is her name? Oh, I gotta know it. The composer. Yes, Michiru Yamane. So she composed the entire score for Symphony of Night, and it is so opulent and elegant and wild. I feel like it encompasses everything that Castlevania is. So listen to Dance of Pails from Castlevania.
That was awesome. Like
It's like a music box. is
You
how I
weren't
think.
kidding. Yeah, it's a music box.
It's
You
like
weren't
a
kidding about
lullaby.
the elegant thing.
Yes.
Very
of it.
elegant.
It's
yeah,
almost
very
waltzy.
old.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
like
that's what I was thinking, like a
1890s
ballroom
Russia.
dance.
Yeah.
Which I get, I guess, is somewhat fitting for the setting of the Castlevania games because they take place in castles,
Yeah.
which, with
Yeah.
like these old, I mean,
And
vampires
usually
and stuff
they're
like
even
that.
meant to be taking place back in like the early 1000s. Like I
Right.
think Lament of Innocence was meant to take place in like 1074 or something like
Yeah.
that.
Right.
And the other games thereafter because they're meant to be in like Dracula times basically.
Yeah.
So I love
Very
what she
piano
did.
heavy.
Yes, that
Just kind of,
particular track is very piano heavy.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about the overall soundtrack is Yamane used a lot of different influences for different tracks. One of them that takes place, I think, in the underground caverns, almost sounds like very noir, like kind of jazzy, like kind of like a
Cool.
speakeasy almost. So she used a lot of different particular styles of sounds to make a whole that is just, it's really good. You should listen to the whole soundtrack. It's all really great.
I love the original theme of just Castlevania, like when
yeah, I mean,
Video
even
Games
the
Live do it and
OG,
stuff like that. Like
yes.
it's been a great
it's so
soundtrack
good.
in the whole series.
And that's
stuff like
why
that.
it
So-
makes it to stuff like Video Games Live, because their soundtracks are very iconic.
Right.
Much like the games themselves. So 10 out of 10. Would
Love
listen
it.
again.
Very nice.
Including
Castlevania
Play
Symphony of the
it.
Night.
Listen
Play
to
it.
it.
Which the name of the game, like Symphony of the Night, like it was a great musical, fit very well with even the title.
Right.
Don't necessarily know if that's what they were going for, but it still worked out well in the end.
Still
It's
worked
a
out well. Worked out well.
So we'll just go around in this
Yeah,
direction.
go
So
ahead,
I'll
JJ.
whatever direction this is. I don't know. I'm terrible on camera directions.
Camera director.
I am. I'll like be.
Isn't that your job?
It is my job, but I'll be filming with people, and they'll be giving an interview, and I'll like need them to take a step. And I'm like, could you take a half step to the right? And they're like, you mean my left? I'm like, yes, because it's
Yes, sir.
backwards. So I'll be like, go that way. Just point. Be like, take a step that way.
Head nod.
I'm dumb in that
A
area.
plus directing.
Absolutely. Like I don't expect to be winning any Oscars anytime soon. All right. Well, one of the first game that I wanted to talk about is one that I've brought up recently because I just played it, but I haven't shared any of the music for it before. It's from Horizon Zero Dawn.
I'm excited to hear some
So-
music. I don't think I've heard any music from Horizon.
This
think
one,
I have
I might have
either.
played this one for you guys before. I can't remember.
Okay, I stand
But
corrected.
I just can't remember. I know we like send each other shit all the time. We're like, have you
Yeah.
heard this or you haven't heard this? But so one of the things always that capture my attention of Horizon Zero Dawn, even from what I've seen of the trailers, and it's one of those games that when the menu screen comes on, you can sit there. It's like the Halo games.
Yeah.
The menu
Oh,
screen
yeah.
comes on and you can loop the song.
It's great.
The Horizon Zero Dawn soundtrack was a combination of composers. Joris Daman is the main composer, but then it features vocals from Julie Elvin, and music also is contributed by The Flight. So those are all the people who worked on this game. But the Horizon Zero Dawn soundtrack is excellent because it has obviously the very similar motifs, the very similar themes that reoccur in the game, but also because you change settings, you change locations, and you change the people that you're interacting with, the music will also change to fit that theme as well. So the biggest change is when you are going to Meridian and to meet and interact with the Karja tribe. As I've explained in my review of Horizon Zero Dawn and stuff, the Karja have a very distinct.
Are they the ones that kind of look like Aztecs?
Yes, yeah, they have that very much flair. But they also, is to get to them, you travel through this big desert, and then you're suddenly the desert falls away to this more of a jungly rainforest type, which fits with the Karja Aztec feel or connection that they have. But this track for me, I heard it when I was listening to the soundtrack, which also I know I've said it before, but the soundtrack's 4 hours long, so that's awesome. I love it.
Symphony of Night is not that long.
I love a soundtrack that's just, I can just put it on and it just goes basically all day.
Yeah.
And
totally.
so that was very awesome for me too, as a huge fan of soundtracks. But anyway, this one, I've loved like Aloy's theme, and I was thinking about playing Aloy's theme, but also everyone's heard Aloy's theme. If you've heard it, it's got, the beautiful vocals by Julie Elvin, just this very flowing melodic song. It's what plays during the main menus and all that stuff. So look that one up too. But this song is the one that plays when you are interacting in Meridian and going to Meridian for the first time. And it's called City on the Mesa.
Okay.
getting some feels.
Yeah, I'll tell you, what I get from that is people traveling after
Right?
maybe just losing one of their travel partners.
It very much.
What an awesome scene.
They just
really
lost
is.
somebody, but they're like, we have to continue forward.
Oh, dear.
All right, Jerrett.
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to play more of mine. I just bumped the button accidentally. I'm sorry.
Why you got to be so extra, man?
Yeah, just a little extra second in there.
I'm sorry. I apologize. But
Yeah,
no,
there's
no,
something
it
like
very
I could
much-
see people traveling, but maybe not
Yeah.
happily.
Yeah, it's not really like it definitely
Some
has
melancholy about
a bit
it.
of pace to it.
Yeah.
but it's not upbeat. I wouldn't
No.
say.
No, it very much is that. There's like I've described it as some things before as like the scene in Lord of the Rings where they're running across the mountaintops and it's that very like grandiose theme that goes along with it, and it has that same feel, but not as grand.
No, it's
about
more
it.
small.
The music of adventure.
Yeah.
Well, because at this point in the game too, like you can take over machines and be riding them. So it's this also thing that you're going through this. Like I said, you're leaving the desert, going into this jungle rainforest setting, and that song's playing.
Yeah.
And as you interact with it, and it just I don't know, it gives it almost not Western feel, but just like it is a
There's something foreign about it.
right, and it's very different. And it's
To
like I
us.
said,
Yeah.
to us since we're not in that world.
Yeah,
But,
for us, it's fine.
but so having left the land of the Nora, Aloy's people, and where it is very much, it is more vocal tracks, very like mellow, emotional pieces to this one, which is just it does, like you said, evokes that sense of travel, that
Yeah,
sense of adventure.
definitely.
But very subtly.
Yeah.
And that's why I love
It's
it so
not
much,
beating you over the
especially
head.
when the stringed instrument, like we were discussing while I was playing, which one it is. It's a viola,
My
violin.
money's on viola.
But it was
Good bet.
Somebody knows what those can pick out those instruments by ear better than what we can. Like, let us know which
We
one it
will
is.
give
but
you $1.
Yeah.
$1.
Wow, now we have to. You get $1. We'll mail you $1.
We will mail you $1.
But yeah. So I mean, in all honesty, we'll just probably do it digitally if at all.
You got Venmo?
No, I want to mail somebody a single
Yeah,
dollar.
that would be amazing.
But yeah. But when that part kicks on, like, because it's very much that like simple guitar strum
Yeah.
to kick it off. You're
Yeah,
just
it's
listening to it, and you're
nice.
like, oh yeah, this is just a nice little travel piece. And then the strings come in, just the single one, just playing that very melodic tune, and it just mixes so well. But it's such a dramatic shift from what the rest of the stuff that you'd heard in the soundtrack up until that point. That's why it really stood out to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
I was like, this is some good work right here.
Yeah.
And later on, if you listen to the rest of the soundtrack, there are a few tracks that are completely just like chorus, like male chorus.
yeah.
Almost seems like a Gregorian chant in a sense. There's also some that are just purely drums, like war drum beating and stuff like that. It's a fantastic soundtrack, and matched with the already fantastic game, it just is what helped complete the Horizon Zero Dawn experience. It was
Nice.
great.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Excellent. A+.
So my first one definitely is in line. It's not that one.
Next one?
Next one. It's definitely in line with music tracks I've picked in the past, which always makes me laugh because I feel like you have these great orchestral pieces that are like very in tune with the game. Not that this isn't, but I picked this out because like, oh, it's fun and like
Wave
fast.
Runner?
It's like Wave Runner.
I still
It's like
listen
Jet
to that
Set Radio.
track.
It's a great track. It's like Jet Set Radio. It's like that. There's another track that I used. So this is a game that I played on my PSP. Actually,
Okay.
so one of the rare
wow,
PSP
that's the
games
oldest thing
that I
I've
played.
ever heard anyone say.
It was funny. Yeah, if you were like going to my grandma's house, I'm in the back seat of my car playing this game. It's
Yeah.
Ridge
nice.
Racer, which is
Okay.
actually a decent game. I think it has a pretty good following. There's like 6 of them or something. I think it might be bigger in Japan, but for me, I thought it was okay. Like it's not a bad game, but as far as racing games, it's not one that I usually think about a lot. But like I said, there's a decent following for it. People do like it. 2 of its strongest components. One is the music. When you're driving, it honestly has some of the best driving music. It has you're gonna hear it in this song, and all the songs are somewhat similar in this vein of like this hypnotic trance cityscape music.
Oh,
that's like
that's my
nighttime.
favorite
Yeah,
kind.
I like that too a lot.
And it's sort of, it's not like the movie Drive where it's mellow and sort of hypnotic. It's
Yeah.
more like fast paced
Yeah.
and intense. So this track's called Disco Ball, and it's a great track.
The kind of stuff you get pulled over to because you
It
didn't
is.
realize you were speeding.
It is, but it's something, and I don't know how to phrase this right without sounding ignorant, but it does feel to me like it has strong Japan influences, I
okay.
would say, like modern Japan. And I don't know that much about modern Japan, so I have
Then
to be
why
careful.
you bring it up?
To me, like I think when I get this image, the opening cinematic is very anime-esque, and it's got a girl in a car, and she does this. She jumps off, and there's a plane that goes behind her in slow motion. This car's doing 360s up to her, and she has a stopwatch. I mean, it's very like over the top dramatic, but awesome, and it's great. And combining those images with this game and the music, you get like this package that is very much not Need for Speed, not Forza, not Gran Turismo. It is its own entity that it's carved out its own little identity in the racing world, and a lot of it has to do with the music, I think.
Nice.
So this is Disco Ball.
Oh, I'm excited.
So yeah,
That's awesome.
There's something very happy about
It's
it.
like
It's very
heart pounding in the best way.
Yeah.
Like you get your
Yeah.
blood does get pumping just from listening to that kind of
and
music.
it had like
I love it.
it's got just beautiful neon colors and like
and that's
and
what I
palm
imagine when I
trees.
see it.
Yeah.
So when you said it was like a more hypnotic thing, I was thinking that was going to be more similar to like the Watch Dogs soundtrack, which
Oh,
is
no.
a very subtle,
It's
very
more like-
mellow
No.
electronic
It's
feel.
this
But like
game's
that's
in your
pulsating.
face about
That's very
it.
much
Totally.
just like, oh yeah, that's a racing game.
Yeah,
you
it's
hear
a
that
racing
music
game.
and you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is for a racing game. This is for taking the streets.
Taking-
It's fast
Go.
and taking corners
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah, drifting. Yeah.
Braking real hard.
Where's
Yeah.
Vin Diesel?
But no, that's a really fun track.
That's a fun
I
one.
like that one a
That's
lot.
a fun one.
All right. So Mogan, what is your second pick?
Again, this is a game I have never played. I shit you not, I bought the soundtrack on a CD.
Wow.
Because I wanted it so bad.
Let's pause real quick. So we haven't even gone. We've like barely gone 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And we've already gone through our first pick. Do
Yeah.
we want to do a third pick? Because we're going through it fast enough. We could maybe have 3 games each.
I could do like an honorable mention and just briefly talk about another one.
Because I prepared enough to do that if we ran enough time. I'm just seeing how much time we've already gone, and like we'll be over really quick.
Keep your 2 honorables on backup.
I have an
may or
honorable.
may not be able to think of one.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Cool.
Cool.
So all right.
Okay.
So Mogan, what is your number 2 pick?
Oh, what was I going to talk about? So, this is a game, again, that I have never played. I found the soundtrack online back when I used to have AOL online.
Yeah, yeah.
And AOL Radio had a video games
That's
station.
impressive.
Yeah, AOL Radio had a video game music
Wow,
station.
that is
and this
surprising.
track would come up all the time, or this particular OST would come up all the time. And I was like, this is so amazing. I bought the CD online.
Oh, wow.
And I would listen to it in my old Jeep all the time. And then my friends back in high school would get in the car and they'd be like, and I'd be like, shut up and enjoy the music. So this is from Alone in the Dark, an old survival horror video game. This had to be in like, I want to say pre-2010. I want to say around 07 to 08, but I can't swear to that. So I'm going to let the track play first, and then I'll kind of explain some of it to you. So go on ahead.
I'm all about that.
Very unexpected.
No, you need to listen to the whole soundtrack.
I've never even heard of this game,
If
so
I
I'm all
hadn't
about that
crashed my
soundtrack.
Jeep
Yeah.
and then forgotten that CD in the Jeep, I would still own it. Dude,
And I crashed that Jeep because I was just rocking out too
so-
hard.
That's an
I know,
amazing
I was like, oh,
piece.
it's amazing. Stupid bee caves. Fuck bee caves road, you guys. Anyways, so that
road
is
is
from
twisty.
composer Olivier Derivière, which I'm
Whoa.
pretty sure is a French name, and I could be butchering it
Sounds
horrendously.
very French.
So we'll
Does.
just call him Oliver, even though I'm sure that's not actually his name. And that particular choir is those. So those are real vocals, and that is from The Mystery of Bulgarian Voices, all-female choir.
Wow.
They have been featured on tracks that win Grammys. That's how good they are.
They were so. I am a huge. I'm sure I've said this before, but I'm a huge sucker for music that incorporates
Oh,
excellent
yes.
vocals as
Yeah.
well, with like
And
a
that
a striking.
whole track.
Like that's why I love. That's why I love. Like when it started off with the vocals in that, I was like, oh, I'm into this. And then
Oh,
when the
yeah.
music really picked up and was supporting the vocals, I was like, I'm super into this. That's why I love soundtracks like Horizon or even Gladiator. Go into some movies like Gladiator, Kingdom of Heaven, like ones that have excellent vocal tracks to back it up. Man, my God.
Yeah.
So that particular, obviously, as the name of the choir would imply, they are Bulgarian. So they are very well known. And actually, this game soundtrack is one of the more recent notes of acclaim that they did. Prior to that, they've been going since the 50s. Is how long this particular choir has been in existence. And basically,
Beautiful.
they go out into the Bulgarian countryside, just kind of jonesing for singers, and they're like, "Hey, you, how good's your voice?" And they're looking for deep, well-rounded, carrying voices. And it clearly shows through in the music.
No kidding.
And this particular soundtrack I really love because I don't know if you've seen any footage of Alone in the Dark.
I have
I've
not.
at least watched some of it because I was so intrigued by this game. And I was like, that's not for me. It is scary AF. I don't think I could do it at that time.
Honestly, from the cover art, it looks like it was a movie.
You would think so. It's not. No. It's good old Alone in the Dark. And so one of the things that you may or may not, probably neither of you, did either of you watch Xena, Warrior Princess?
No, I've
Little
seen
bit.
That
episodes.
same choir, music that they did was basically the heaviest influence of the theme music from Xena's opening. So
Oh,
it's like,
interesting.
there's the link. So they are a very well-known choir. They are very known for their parallel singing style, like all of those overlapping voices,
Yeah.
and sequential singing. So instead of consonants, they do dissonance, which is like consonants is all the notes hit at the same time. Dissonance is they all hit at different times.
Interesting.
So they're known for parallels and diaphonic singing, and it's just one of my favorite tracks that I always go back to when I'm bored and I need something to really jazz me up.
No, I'm writing this down. Like I want to remember this game. 'cause
Yeah.
This game looks amazing.
I'm gonna
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna go back
It's
and listen to this
old.
this week.
Look at this. It's like
Yes.
a car scene from it.
Oh damn.
Looks awesome.
So can you imagine driving in a taxi to that?
It looks
Exactly.
like something like the city's blowing up.
Oh God!
is
I wonder what
going
track
on?
is playing in the background.
Yeah.
That's a terrible star. Seems very much in
Wait,
line
I
with
know
what we've
that
heard.
one.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's a good song. It's
So
a good
actually, it's
track.
notable they did not use a live orchestra for any of that. They used the live choir, but all of the supporting sounds were electronically generated.
Wow.
So they actually didn't use any live musical instruments aside from the voices. And I feel like that was to their benefit because the vocalists are clearly the highlight of that soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's what stood out in
so good.
seconds of it starting. Awesome. That's no, I got to go back and listen to that whole thing. I'm thoroughly intrigued from this little bit that we've heard.
The other really good one is Who Am I?
Okay.
So that was Prelude to an End, which that's the opening song. So it starts with Prelude to an End, which I love. The other really notable one is Who Am I? Because it's just so heart-poundingly going, you should listen to the whole thing. Absolutely.
Nice. No,
Cool.
I'll listen to that this week for sure. Okay, so my second pick is a game, I've mentioned it briefly a few times in the past, I think, Guacamelee.
All right.
I love that reaction.
It's the hilarious title. So it was developed by Drinkbox Studios. They made the game Severed that came out
Yes, they did.
last year. That was Vita only, touchscreen, swiping game.
I
Super fun
pronounce
game
it
too.
guacamole.
Yeah.
I'm just
But no, so Guacamelee was my first introduction to Drinkbox Studios, and I love their games. So Drinkbox, I first played this game at a demo set up in a Best Buy. And I was like, I was on my lunch break when I worked way up north in North Austin. And I was on my lunch break. And it's like, and there's a Best Buy nearby. And I'm like, yeah, I often just go spend my lunch break in the Best Buy. And they had a PS3 at the time set up, and I was playing, just going through, and I was like, I'll try this out. This quick little demo. Loved it just from the demo, and I was like, I have to own this game at some point. I finally did get it. Then they came out with like the super turbocharged championship edition.
Has a hardcore following.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
Like if you haven't played it, you guys need to play this game. It's so fun. But anyway, so the basic backstory is you're this agave farmer. I just looked him up. Juan, because I couldn't remember his name. Juan Agate is a humble agave farmer who's in love with El Presidente's daughter.
Oh, scandal.
Yeah.
This is the plot summary from Wikipedia. When an evil skeleton named Carlos Galaca attacks the village and kidnaps El Presidente's daughter, Juan is killed by Carlos during his attempt to stop him and winds up in the land of the dead. There, a mysterious luchador named Tostada gives Juan a mysterious mask that transforms him into a powerful luchador and brings him back into the world of the living. And so now it's you play as Juan in his luchador going through beating up skeletons and other undead creatures that are trying to stop you from rescuing El Presidente's daughter.
What a fun premise to a game.
Can you hit the camera real quick?
That's hilarious.
So I recently, when I got the game, I was able to get it came with the soundtrack. And so I listened to the soundtracks. It's one of those things. It was one of those soundtracks where I listened to it and didn't fully appreciate it until I heard it separated from the game, because it was really good. It made good pacing and good accompaniment to the game, which is a 2D side-scrolling platform, Metroidvania style kind of game. But it incorporated, you would defeat your enemies not by just like jumping on them, but you would have like punch, kick, and all these combos that you would do, like wrestling moves, and you'd be trained by this old guy who would turn into a goat and this whole weird crazy thing. But anyway, so it's a super fun game. Definitely check it out. But let's listen to this one song, which is Forest del Chivo.
I love it.
So
I feel like you could hear
good.
that in a salsa club and people would lose their minds.
Right.
There is, I don't
So
know what
good.
if it's a xylophone, but there's something that's a little bit I was gonna say noir, but there's something in that track that's like a little mysterious.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think it is a xylophone, and
think
just
it's
like very
probably a
lightly,
marimba.
or
Maybe
something
a
that's
marimba.
The
supposed to be
granddaddy
too.
of the xylophone.
Yeah, and so like it's got that like fun playfulness, but then
there
it
is
also
something
has the
a little
very
off.
strong like like Mexican music with it, or like a mix of not Tejano really, but just like still just like with the trumpet that comes in, and like, but then it's like it builds and it's set with the drums at the very beginning too, like the light drumming that was coming in, then the hard like what you were saying, like what would be you would find in a club with the beats and the heart and like the scratching of the record scratches coming in and like the distortion.
Yeah.
But it all combines so well.
That's
It does.
a great track.
And so this game, the time period, I guess, as you would be, I'm assuming like late 1800s kind of thing, just from like what it
when the
looks
game
like
takes
when the
place.
game takes
Yeah.
place. Like it's not current times,
Right.
And so it's just a fun. I mean, granted, the game's over the top anyway. It's called Guacamelee for Christ's sake, but it's like, which that title is fantastic.
It's great.
Can we just talk about that title
Yeah.
for a moment? But
I really want to be in that marketing meeting. What are we going to call it? Guacamole.
All right.
Yes.
You're getting a promotion.
You just got promoted, sir. But no, it's like the game is so incredibly fun, and you pair it with that soundtrack. And there are so many others. Like the other one that I was thinking about possibly playing is Boss Theme is really good, but it also has two. Like for most of the songs on the soundtrack, it has two versions. It has like the Land of the Living version of a song, and also the Land of the Dead version of the song.
That's fun.
So it's a really great soundtrack. It was composed by Rom DePrisco and Peter Chapman. So shout out to them for making a crazy fun,
Cool.
super
Awesome.
fun, peppy soundtrack.
Yes, very peppy.
So,
All right.
what you got?
My number 2 comes from a game that I've definitely talked about before. I think we did it for best and worst in a series, where I claimed it's the best in the series.
I think I
strong
know what
words.
it
Yes,
is.
strong words. It is from the Grand Theft Auto
I was gonna
franchise,
ask.
and it's number 4 with Nico Bellic, and takes place in Liberty City, aka New York City. So this song is the main theme. So when you hear this really encapsulates the whole tone and feeling of Grand Theft Auto 4, which, in my opinion, is superior to 5 in a lot of ways. You're gonna hear it here. It's a little bit darker. It's a little bit more realistic too. Something that not to go on to 5, but something that 5 didn't necessarily have for me. I didn't feel the realism as much as I did in 4. And this is sort of Nico's theme. This is definitely. I was reading some of the comments under the YouTube, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, it sounds like a rise to power from someone that's very loyal to his family or his, this sort of like, but a twisted rise to power." It's
Yeah.
definitely not a your standard
It's not
good
a
guy.
noble rise to power.
Leaving
But
some
it-
bodies behind.
Yeah, but at the same time, and I've said this before, you kind of understand his stance and why
Yeah.
he's doing it, and which makes him a really wonderful character to not only to be, but also to witness and watch, and as things unfold. A couple things about this track: it's pretty layered. It's got a couple different breaks in it, and there's notes in it, or there's instruments in it that actually sound like sound effects from the game, which is very interesting. You'll hear this kind of thing in the background, which you can almost be like, man, that sounds like my phone ringing in the game, which I don't think it is, but there's a strange connection that's made between this music and the game that it almost sounds like the sound of the game is fused with a theme song. And so, yeah, listen to a lot of like the stuff going on. It's awesome.
solid
Isn't that
like
good?
that.
Yeah. So Michael Hunter, I gotta say the name is the composer for that, and yeah.
When those violins really kick in after those
it's
basses
intense.
start up, that was nice.
That definitely like gave it the feel of like a heist movie,
Yeah.
or like or like, I mean, I know he's part of a gang, so it was like a gang related movie
Yeah,
kind of thing.
totally.
Like it's an interesting too. Like I was almost expecting it to take and sound more of like how Grand Theft Auto 5 did, where it's like almost like funk sound of Grand
different.
Theft Auto
It's
5. Like
different.
Grand Theft Auto 5, the music feels very much like it's taking cues from like the 70s, early 80s. But so it's very much what that was way more of like the action heist movie.
some gritty
soundtrack
about
to go
it
with
too.
Yeah,
and it's
you're right.
like it's called Soviet Connection, so it's definitely seems to have some sort of Russian influence in there. And what's interesting, so two things that I really like is the beginning is really like interesting. It's like kind of crescendos in a very odd way that seems dark.
It sounds more noir.
It does.
You know, from
Yeah.
what we've been talking about with these
does.
other ones. That one definitely seemed like I was expecting a more of a mellow theme to the game. Like it is like this dark, gritty underworld kind of feel.
It took
Yeah.
a very unexpected turn. I was not
it did.
expecting
Yeah,
that. That was
absolutely.
nice.
Bum, 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 bum,
At first I was
bum,
like,
bum,
Zach
bum,
has
bum,
terrible
bum, bum, bum.
taste.
I know. It's just like just strings like combined together. But yeah, that whole bum 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 is like
It's
that drives
foreboding.
through it
It's-
is.
I
And that's like
imagine-
the theme of GTA 4 when you
Because
think about it.
I haven't played GTA 4, but I imagine when that music's coming in, like I'm imagining him like flying into the city or arriving on a boat,
Yeah,
something
it's
like
a
that.
boat.
And it's
Yeah,
like
it's a boat.
Yeah, so it's like the
And,
boat's
like,
pulling
something
into the harbor, and he's
bad's
like,
gonna go down.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you just like it's the sense of foreboding that
Yeah.
like shit's about to go down.
Yeah, that does not inspire hope per
No,
se.
but
No,
it's,
not
it
necessarily,
sounds like a
no.
lot of like work's going to be done.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
maybe bad work.
Yeah, it sounds like you're like putting on your gloves for a fight.
Yeah, it does. One of the other things I was going to mention that the sound effect that sounds like from the game is that weird alien like clicking. It's like
Yeah.
I can't even do it, but it's like this weird clicking that you hear that sounds like an alien or something. But it's it was I don't know what instrument it is, but
I
it
was going to
sounds really
see if it was
interesting.
if it was the phone. Is it
Yeah.
your cousin Roman asking you to go
Yeah.
bowling?
You go bowling.
Castanets, perhaps.
Oh man, that was
Yeah.
a really great track. I like
a
that.
great track.
I like that a lot. So those were our main picks that we had, all those great ones, which, I mean, fantastic stuff. Like, I really want to go back and listen to Alone in the Dark. Grand Theft Auto 4, I don't know why I haven't listened to that one
Oh,
before.
you gotta put that on.
I got to put
The
that
whole
because I
thing.
love Grand Theft Auto 5, the soundtrack for that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I need to listen to Grand Theft Auto 4 and all this other stuff. And obviously, like, Horizon Zero Dawn for me is still very much on my repeats and all that. But so let's real quick, before we wrap this one up, let's go ahead and go around and give like a quick honorable mention just to give our listeners somebody else to go check out. So, Mogan, what do you have for us?
So this is a game I have not played and I don't even think is out yet. So this is from the trailer, the pre-order trailer for Sonic Mania, which I think is
Oh.
coming soon. So
Okay.
this is called Time Trials and is by Hyper Potions, one of
Ooh.
my favorite EDM and dance
I love
artists.
Sonic music.
You're gonna like this.
That's so fun.
I know. I love that kind of
No, it's
video
just,
game music.
I love that it's like a throwback to the old
It
style
is.
of music.
Straight
It,
up.
like,
I love
feels
that.
very old Sonic, but
Yeah.
with a new
I love
with a
that
new
thumbnail.
shine and veneer on it. Isn't that so
Are those
cute?
dogs
It's like
with
corgis
Sonic?
with Sonic masks
Corgis
on.
with
They're
Sonic
little
masks on? Are you
corgis.
kidding me?
How cute
That is
is
so
that?
adorable.
That's awesome. So
Yeah, Hyper Potions is great, and everyone should listen.
yeah,
to
you
them.
suggested that this
Yes.
me because earlier this week I was like, I need more music to listen to. Somebody hit me up with your suggestions, and you told me Hyper Potions.
They don't exclusively do game music, but they do stuff like here and there all over the place, and a lot of their tracks are really good.
Very nice. So my honorable mention, another one by a fun independent studio that I really like a lot is Bastion by from Supergiant Games. So we have wonderful artwork from the game up here. They've got a new game coming out this month, Pyre, that I played last year at RTX that I'm really looking forward to. It's coming out in
I
in a few
remember
days.
talking about Pyre.
Ooh, it's so fun.
Yeah.
I love that game so much. And they have another great game, Transistor, that was the in between Bastion and Pyre. But they're a smaller independent studio, but they make great stuff. Bastion we've talked about because it's the one that had like the hand painted
Yes.
watercolored backgrounds and settings
a
and everything.
beautiful game.
Great game. But so this one, it definitely has a Japanese feel to it in the art style, anime-esque, very very
Yeah.
much. Or not anime, I guess, just but a very Japanese art animated style to it. And so you're fighting all these like various creatures and everything that come along in it. But the soundtrack has always been it's been a great contrast because it does feel very Western. in its feel. And so this track is called Spike in a Rail. It's by Darren Korb. And but yeah, so you'll pick up on the Western feel to it very quickly. So yeah, like really, really westerny in that feel. It's got the harmonica. It's
I
got
feel like that could have come from a pretentious beer commercial.
Ah, yeah, you could have seen that
Like,
like a
I
Bud
was
Light
getting
commercial.
all these images of like Budweiser, and it's like, shove it up your ass.
but it's
But
still
yeah, the track is really good.
for that track, if that style of music set with the art style, it's just a very it's not what I would have imagined would have gone along with that
Yeah,
game.
that's
Right.
definitely that is not the image I'm getting from that sound.
Exactly, and so it's just a very interesting thing that's what the direction they went with the game, and it turns out it worked really well, and they have various but it's straight up got that. It's got a harmonica. It feels like it almost feels like it would be fitting in like a weird way in like Red Dead Redemption, where it's like you're walking through this old western town, weeds are rolling around, and it's, I don't know, and like or like a top down action shooter kind of thing. It's like I don't know. That's kind of how I see it going, but it worked perfectly with Bastion, and Supergiant always does a great job on their soundtracks for their games. So
Yeah.
the one for Transistor is great, and I'm assuming Pyres is going to be fantastic as well.
That was a cool one.
So Zach, what you got
Yes.
for your honorable mention here?
So I was thinking about, I really wanted to go to Brawl and Super Smash Brothers because they have so many great tracks in there, and obviously the opening theme, and that is probably one of the most actually famous video game music tracks ever. The which is amazing. I wanted to do it. I was like, everyone
sing it as
knows
your
that.
track.
Yeah,
Track
just
for
go
us,
the whole
please.
thing. And so instead, I was like, let's look for some tracks that I probably missed or like didn't notice as much. And this is one that I found, and it's the Mario theme, I guess. What is it? It's like the Super Mario
Super Smash
Bros.
Brothers Brawl Ground theme is what it says
But
here.
it's arranged it's remixed and arranged a little bit differently. And I think it's Koji Komodo. What is the name?
Koji Kondo.
Koji Kondo. And
He did the Wind Waker soundtrack.
so I think if you look at the comments, people are like, he's the best.
He
He's
is the
really,
best.
really well known. And so this is a really interesting take on a Super Mario's theme. So yeah, it's
super fun.
I
It's
like
totally,
it.
it's like slightly different for me. It's like you go to like a nightclub and someone
That's
plays
exactly
the
what I
Super
was
Mario
feeling.
theme, and they're gonna play it like that.
Yeah.
It's a little different, and like you kind of hide it in behind the piano
Yeah,
a
like
little
if
bit.
it just started like that and you hadn't
Yeah.
said, "Hey, it's Mario," I
wouldn't
wouldn't
have
have
gotten it.
caught it until you really got it a
Yeah.
little bit later into the
Well, because
song.
it felt like it was about to build. It
Yeah,
felt like it was
but
about
it's
to
kinda
take it to that
mellow,
point.
but
Where
it's
it was
just
like it was like in the very beginning notes, and I was expecting it to like take off like the Mario theme normally does. Then it stopped, and I was like, wait. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
and then
gonna try
it
to
just
snip
stays.
that
kinda
into
like-
a jazz club.
it's
Be
kinda
like,
like-
here you go, DJ.
Yeah.
It's like it tries to start the main theme several times, and then it finally goes into it. But it's
Yeah.
still very just light,
Yeah.
and it doesn't
Very
even hit like
different.
the high notes, like the dun dun dun.
No.
Like I
No,
expected that,
no,
and it
it's
doesn't.
down.
It just stays really mellow.
like
You're
a
right. You're right.
classy
It's like
version.
it's like you would expect playing in a nice restaurant.
It's
Yeah.
Mario
thing.
Black Tie.
Yeah, Mario
Yeah.
Black Tie. That's right.
Yeah, like at the Met Gala. or something like that.
The Mario at the Met.
Wow. You can do
very-
that in Odyssey probably.
Yeah, probably can. But no, that's a super fun
That's a
track.
cool
I
one.
love these. I need to listen to more like the Mario stuff. It's like obviously everybody knows the main theme and all that
but
stuff,
there's
but
so
like, there's
many
so many
versions.
versions of it because there's so many Mario
know.
games out there.
I know.
That's awesome. I have really enjoyed all these picks. I mean, obviously we're all huge fans of soundtracks, so it's
Yeah.
very easy for us to like
always fun
find
to
it
do
and
these
agree.
episodes. Yeah.
on
Really, the
stuff that
hard
we
part is
like.
narrowing it
It
down.
is.
Seriously,
That is the hard
I
part.
know there
It's
were
like
so
there's
many
so
games.
many.
Yeah.
And like all these different ones, and there's ones like, oh, it's just these ones, but it's so hard to narrow it down. And so that's why we can only bring these choice selections to you each and every time. But obviously, if your favorite soundtracks out there, if you liked one of these games, if you have one that we haven't touched on in our past episodes, and please go back and listen to the previous ones where we talk about some other great games in the past that we've done. But share with us your favorite soundtracks and the favorite songs that really like get you going and get hit you in the feels or give you that emotion, that boost of energy to get through something. I listen to soundtracks like when I go run.
Me too.
I
don't run, but you get the idea.
When you go on your Mosies.
When I go on a Mosie.
Yeah, but like I'll listen to like The Witcher 3 when I'm doing a run or working out, something like that. Like soundtracks are such a big important part of my life. So I love hearing from more people about which ones they love as well. So please share with those. I did it again. See, no one can accuse me of unfairness. You got your little extra bit of music in there too. But please, you send us those songs and any other feedback you may have for us, just teamchatpodcast@gmail.com or write on our Facebook wall, our Facebook page. Send us a tweet or comment below in the YouTube comments as well. But that wraps up this episode of Team Chat Podcast. Until next time, I'm one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Adios.
And to my left, Zachary Parks.
Peace.
We'll see you all next time. Stick around for the song that is forthcoming. All right, everybody. The song contest for this week is Remember, No Russian. One more time. Remember, No Russian. All right, so the song contest goes live Wednesday at 9 a.m. the day after this episode goes live. First person to correctly guess the game by replying to the Facebook post, tweet, or in the comments of this YouTube video will be able to send us a song and hint for a future episode. So, without further ado, here's the song and guess away.